Alright, welcome back for Isaiah 14:12. In the King James reads, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?" Mr. Melton points out, says Revelation 22:16 tells us that Jesus Christ is the morning star. The KJV never gives this title to anyone else. However, in some new versions, Jesus Christ and Satan are the same, because some versions have taken the liberty to call Satan the morning star in Isaiah 14:12. Although some versions do not go so far as to call Satan the morning star, they still throw out the name Lucifer. Of the top 5 translations that I said, that I would say are probably the strongest, the ESV, the New American Standard 95, the NIV, the New King James, and the King James. Only 2 keep Lucifer, and that's the New King James and the King James. The others use day star or morning star. The Hebrew word is Hallel, and it's basically however they choose to render it. But I'm going to show you something here. 2 things. I want to show you something, and then I want to play something and let you listen. In the 1611 edition, I want you to see this passage. Let it focus. "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?" And do you see in front of O Lucifer those 2 little lines going straight up and down? That means there's a margin note right here where my middle finger is. What does it say? Or O day star. So the King James Version translators even say that O day star is a legitimate rendering of the Hebrew word there. Now I have the audio version of the John Ankerberg show that discussed the King James only debate in modern translations. And here's the passage, or here's the section where they talk about this passage of Scripture. So I'm going to let you listen in to share some more thoughts in addition to this.
"How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" Okay, you have the word Lucifer in there. Now, over here, when you have the NIV, and maybe, Ken, you can answer this one. "How you have fallen from heaven, O morning star, son of the dawn." She says, you see that?
She is Gail Ripplinger.
The word Lucifer. Alright? And this shows that there's a satanic influence. Okay? Now,
Plus they called him the morning star.
Alright? And I want you, as a Hebrew scholar, what's going on here? Why did you guys translate it this way and change it?
Well, we did not leave out Lucifer. In my book, Accuracy Defined and Illustrated, on page 55, I respond to Isaiah 14:12 because of what is in Ripplinger's book. And here I point out that the Hebrew for morning star was translated Lucifer in the Latin Vulgate. And they were creating a proper noun, a noun for Satan. That was not in the minds of the people who translated the Latin Vulgate. All they were doing was translating the Hebrew morning star into Latin, and it was Lucifer.
In other words, morning star, the equivalent of morning star in Latin is
Lucifer.
The word Lucifer.
Absolute.
Light bearer.
Light bearer. All
So
right.
morning star in Hebrew went into Latin as Lucifer, and the King James Version translators then borrowed Lucifer from the Latin in its rendering.
So they didn't even take it from the Hebrew.
No, they took it brought it over directly from Latin.
All right.
Although morning star is the correct rendering, scholars have debated who is meant by the words, whether the king of Babylon or Satan or both. And then I tack on at the end, Christ, of course, is the true morning star.
Okay, Don and Dan got one more thing. Gail goes one step further and damns the NASB because you put a footnote that morning star also shows up in the New Testament. Theologically speaking, if the context also could be used besides the king of Babylon to Lucifer there, does that mean that you cannot use morning star as a symbol or a reference to Jesus Christ in the New Testament?
No, not at all. And the trademark of the NAS in the first place is being accurate to the original languages and doing, following what the languages are saying, regardless of the theology and so forth. We don't try to put theology into it. We try to take the language and put it in the proper form. And if anybody, Ken's right exactly about the Lucifer. If anybody has any doubts about that, I have the Latin Bible right here. And,
what does it say?
It says Lucifer. It says Quomodo Kegidisti de Kylo Lucifer, Lucifer, which actually means light bearer.
Why was it removed?
It
It's
wasn't
not removed. It's the same
There's
meaning.
Translated.
no removal. The Latin Vulgate has it. Why should we bring over to English a term that means morning star in Latin?
Why shouldn't you? If that's what it means, and we're conveying truth to people.
What it means
You read the
is
passage,
morning
it's
star.
obviously Satan. You read the passage from verses, say, 12 to
Well, if
16.
you heard what I said a moment ago, I said scholars debate to whom morning star refers, whether the king of Babylon or Satan.
Well, it couldn't be the king of Babylon because he could never sit on the sides of the north or sit on the throne of God.
I have no problem with anyone regarding morning star there as Satan. No problem at all.
Well,
My-
the problem is,
my
the King
point
James
is
translators put
she
Lucifer in there
is
so they wouldn't be
making-
confused with
He is
Jesus
making a
Christ.
big deal out of the absence of Lucifer in the English, when all Lucifer is the translation of morning star from Hebrew into Latin as Lucifer.
Yeah, the Latin does not suggest
understand.
Satan. It simply is the word that is
understand.
used for morning star.
I think there's a
correct.
bigger picture here, excuse me, and that is that the King James has given us a theological vocabulary that if we take Lucifer or Luciferian out of our vocabulary, how long will it take the NIV to retrain the Christian populace to think in terms of morning star for the devil?
But wait a minute, the fact is because they accurately translate that word, does that mean that we do not have a doctrine of Satan left in the Bible?
Well, the word Lucifer, though, and we use Luciferian and so on, this is all part of our vocabulary. It's been around even from the Vulgate.
But the fact is that the concept of Satan, the person of Satan, and what is said about him comes from statements made in Scripture. Okay, we don't have to make up anything. The fact is we've got other places in Scripture. Satan didn't disappear because this word is interpreted one way or the other in terms of that. If the true statement, all I'm getting to is, are they wrong for absolutely defining the word the way it actually was meant to be said?
But the English populace for 400 years or more has understood
Let me
Lucifer.
give you know, Tom, that Augustine criticized Jerome for doing the same thing. And the guys around Erasmus criticized him for taking it out of Latin. In other words, this is the same criticism anybody that's ever translated the Scriptures in any language has caught from the people. Don't change it. We've had this before. All they're saying is, this is what the word means.
In fact, this kind of, if I can
Dan?
interject here, this kind of argument that you're giving me is very Roman Catholic, because you say, let's go back to the tradition. In fact, let's go back to the Latin. If we were to push that to its logical extreme, we should keep everything in Latin and not even have English in the first place. Because Lucifer is simply Latin.
Well,
And it's also, and you also argued on the basis of tradition. People know this word. Therefore, it's part of our tradition. Let's not change
All
our
right,
tradition.
we've got to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to move on. Gail also says that...
Alright, that kind of concludes their discussion on that segment. I believe that there was enough talked about there to bring out the evidence and to show. So just to kind of summarize, the word Lucifer is a Latin word that means shiny one, day star, morning star, light bearer, those things. So when Jerome translated it Lucifer, he was translating the Latin word for that, not the proper name of Satan. Okay? It happens to be the same, but it's not, that's not what he was intending to convey. So that's what was coming across, and that's what has created a problem, is because we've seen Lucifer in there. We think, oh, well, that's a proper name of Satan, so therefore that's what it's referring to. So then when the new translations translate the Hebrew word day star, morning star, whatever, they're automatically thinking that they're removing the proper name of Satan, and then even going further to saying that they're making it equivalent to the name of Christ in the New Testament.